Bill, clearly we're talking about it all morning. Jared Kushner questioned by staffers of the Senate Intelligence Committee for over an hour now. One of the main topics expected to be Kushner's relationship with Russia.
All right, earlier this morning, Kushner issued a strongly worded statement saying, quote, "I did not collude nor know of anyone else in the campaign who colluded with any foreign government. I had no improper contacts. I have not relied on Russian funds to finance my business activities in the private sector. I have tried to be fully transparent with regard to the filing of my SF-86 form above and beyond what is required. Hopefully, this puts these matters to rest." Now, Stephanie, I'm going to go over the board and just talk about the meetings that he has had. There were 11 pages of testimony that Jared Kushner gave to Congress. Here are the meetings that we're talking about that we know of with Jared Kushner and people related to the Russian government. April 27, 2016, at a Washington, D.C. hotel meet and greet, Jared Kushner met with Sergei Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, and Dmitry Simes, the publisher of something called The National Interest. Then on June 9, 2016, this is the meeting we just learned about last week. Jared Kushner met with Donald Trump Jr., Paul Manafort, and it does seem now 5 other Russians were in that meeting. This is a slow drip figuring out about this meeting. December 1st, 2016, this is after the election, before the inauguration, Trump Tower, 20 to 30 minutes, Jared Kushner, once again with Sergei Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, and Michael Flynn, who at the time was a Trump campaign advisor, not yet nominated as national security advisor. December 13th, 2016, 20 to 25 minutes, Jared Kushner and Sergei Gorkov, who is a Russian banker. Both of these two men have given very different accounts as to what was discussed at that particular meeting. So if the Kushners or the Trumps or anybody else like that is carrying on about how we're obsessed with this stuff, we're just trying to find out the truth. Why did these meetings happen? In the case of Gorkov and Kushner, they both put out statements about what that meeting was about, and they both said completely different things.
And we have to note that in terms of Russian business and Russian government are significantly far more closely tied
than America.
All right, joining us now to discuss this, Stephen Rogers, who recently joined President Trump's newly formed advisory board called the Donald J. Trump for President Advisory Board. Mr. Rogers was also a Trump campaign advisor and a former naval intelligence officer. I got to ask this quickly because in terms of this board that you're involved in, it's about Donald Trump's reelection. Were you comfortable with reelection donations going to defend Don Jr., going to pay for his lawyer? You're okay with that?
Look, first of all, a good part of my law enforcement career, I was an internal affairs supervisor. And so I look at things that are going on through the eyes of a former individual who investigated things like this.
And are you okay with 50 grand going to Don Jr.'s defense?
Look, I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. All right? No problem at all. But that's not what the subject is here. The subject that I think that the nation is focusing on is, as you said, Arlie, the truth. Let's get down to the truth.
Sure.
So let me get back to my experience as an internal affairs officer. Number one, excuse me, I looked at the timeline that you just articulated very well, and I went through something like that, and I realized that what Jared Kushner did was give a gold mine, a wealth of information by being transparent and by being truthful, and leads me to the conclusion that there is no collusion, there was no cooperation, there was no crime committed. That's number one. Number two.
Why wouldn't he have shared this information from the get-go? When they got an email that in the subject line, private, confidential, Clinton, and in there, information from the Russian government and their interest to help your father, why wouldn't he, like Al Gore did when he received information about George Bush, call the FBI?
And like Hillary Clinton didn't, all right, when the 33,000 emails were missing. Where's the investigation on that?
Which
Where's
is
the
one of the
investigation?
reasons many people didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, because they didn't trust her. And they said, I trust this straight-talking, straight-shooter, transparent team. So why didn't Jared?
You're darn right we trust them. And the fact of the matter is this, Stephanie, if I could please get back to my point. The problem we're facing is James Comey's credibility.
Hold on, Steve, hold on. Just answer one question.
All right, go ahead, shoot.
Right. You say that Jared is really transparent about this.
Yes,
Stephanie said he wasn't transparent about the meeting on June 6th, 2016. He wasn't transparent about the meeting with Gorkov. Yeah. He hasn't been transparent.
Charlie, he explained that. I filled out SF-86s for my top secret clearance, all right? There are things that I forgot to put on there, all right? There are things that I just overlooked. And I could relate to that. I could understand that. What did he do? He amended it. He submitted the information that he was supposed to submit.
It might be a third time.
Yeah, I think at times I did it a year later when I did mine. So these things, we're all human. all right? And I think there's a human element that we have to understand. There's no conspiracies here. There's no trying to hide the truth. All the president has tried to do with great opposition is get the truth out. Yes, I'm sure he's frustrated.
Then may I ask, why is it that Congress has to go around President Trump to put Russian sanctions in place, knowing that Russia even attempted to hack our election system? Why wouldn't the president, now that he's in office, say, let's get these sanctions in place? Why does Congress have to go around him?
One, Stephanie, we don't know what he's going to do, if he's going to...
we know that Congress is going around him.
All right. Well, we don't know what the president's going to do, number one. But number two...
We know that the White House has been working against Congress in putting sanctions in place.
Well, how about the White House has been working for this country? Look, I'm very...
Can you answer this question, please?
What's the question?
Why is it that Congress has to go around the White House to try to put these sanctions in place?
Because they have they have their own political agendas, as far as I'm concerned. The Congress has not helped this country, let alone the president. They're tied up with this Russia madness. And if you look at the polls, 65% of the people in this country, that includes Democrats, are fed up with this. Congress needs to start governing, and they need to start understanding.
So that's an interesting point. You're conflating poll numbers. People are frustrated in general with legislators in Congress. They're not fed up with people trying to figure out about what the connection is between the Trump
campaign
and
they sure
Russia.
are, Arlie. They sure are. The people of this country want Congress to govern. A lot of what's going on with this Russia investigation, and you've got to admit...
But you can want Congress to govern and also want an investigation into Russia and also want Russia to have sanctions for meddling. Like, those are three thoughts you can hold in your head at the same time.
Yeah, all right, it's fine. Look, I'm not objecting to looking into things, to investigating, but from the beginning, with Robert Mueller, who I respect, all right, man of integrity. I worked at FBI Terrorism Task Force when he was the director. But when Robert Mueller is the mentor of one of the principal actors, James Comey, in this whole mess, and then appoints people who donated to the Clinton campaign, you know what you do? You do what I did as an internal affairs officer when I was asked to investigate officers in my department and they were personal friends or I mentored them. You recluse yourself. Just recuse yourself.
Jared Kushner has given over $200,000 to Democratic candidates. Anthony Scaramucci has given over $130,000 to Democratic candidates. So
should they recuse themselves?
Robert Mueller and this posse of Democrats, please.
Well, would you want, if you were on trial, would you want a jury made up of individuals, like I just said, the Mueller team, determining your fate? Of course not. What I'm saying is it's not fair.
Then why would the president choose Gary Cohn, a Democrat, to be his chief White House economic advisor?
What the president is doing is he's trying to in my view, lay an unbiased agenda with the most capable people that he could to run this country.
So Robert Mueller, someone who is involved in the George W. Bush White House.
Everybody says he's capable, right? You agree with that?
Yes, he's capable, but with this exception. I'm very capable as an internal affairs officer. I could do my job. Mueller could do his job.
But it's got to do with capability, as Matt Miller says, capability and loyalty. Right? So the bottom line is, if you can't swear loyalty, as Anthony Scaramucci did in that press conference probably 18 times and since, that's what President Trump is about, right?
We're not going to exaggerate.
If you can't conduct an investigation, all right, you're investigating someone you mentored. You're human. Personal biases are going to come in. And if Mueller is human, and I believe he is, sometime at one point in time, if there's something that he has on Comey, he's going to think, this is my pal, this is my friend. You recuse yourself, even if he doesn't.
You're a guy. You're a military law enforcement guy. You know that that's not the rules that they play by in the military. If you're a qualified person, the fact that you once served under me or I once served under you does not prevent you from investigating. There's been no allegation that the only person alleging that there's something wrong with Robert Mueller investigating anything James Comey is involved in is whom? The President of the United States.
Arlie, there's one word. One word in the U.S. statute, one word in the rules and regulations I was governed by, and it's appearance. Even if there's an appearance of bias, even if there is an appearance of a conflict, you should recuse yourself. But that doesn't
seem to trouble the White House, right? That doesn't. The idea that there's an appearance of a problem, an appearance of relations with the Russians, meetings that were not disclosed on the FA-86, that doesn't bother. So that's a standard you think everybody else should run by except Donald Trump and the White House.
I have no problem with an appearance. There's an appearance of a lot of things in all of our lives, but in this case, where's the evidence? You remember the old show Dragnet? Just the facts, ma'am, right? Just the facts.
Which one?
Sir, what about
There are no facts leading to evidence.
If appearance is so important to this White House, what does the appearance tell you of the president not putting the most qualified people in his White House? He's putting his son-in-law and his daughter, who have absolutely no governmental or management experience. So if we're talking appearance, how does that appear to you?
Isn't that refreshing that we have people in the White House who are bright, who are talented, who are doing a good job, and they owe nothing to no one? This is the key. This is
They
why,
owe nothing to no one? Excuse
they
me,
owe
sir.
nothing.
They owe everything to their father. It is impossible for them to be objective.
Look, Stephanie, here's the point. Washington is being cleaned out by the President of the United States and this team. And these people in Congress or whatever who are opposed to him can't take it.
Cleaned out?
Yes.
I need to remind you about the Goldman Sachs speeches that the president gave over and over.
About
and
Hillary
whether we are
Clinton.
talking about Dina Powell, Gary Cohn, Anthony Scaramucci, the list goes on, of Goldman Sachs partners and employees.
How's that cleaned
Steve
out?
Mnuchin, how
who
is that
haven't
cleaned
been
out?
in government. Look, you've got career politicians who've been there forever. That's what we talk about draining the swamp.
Right. I don't know that America was clear on that. I think they thought the swamp was a little bit
we will
different.
make them
I will
clear
tell
on it.
you this. I'm never going to run for anything, but if I did, I'm hiring you to be my surrogate because this is a guy who can turn things around on you.
Hey, listen, thanks a lot. You guys are good.
Thank you
Good
very
to
much.
see David Rogers is a member of Donald J. Trump for President Advisory Board and a former Naval Intelligence Officer. Okay, stand by, everyone. Democrats are set to unveil their